Hey yo lads and lasses, Damphyre here, back with some more Infinite Lagrange. So today we are going to look at carriers and their buffs that apply to their corvettes or fighters. This should be applicable to both, but this will generally look at corvettes, but it should be applicable to all ships at the end of the day. So this will guide you through what bonuses to sort of look for, which are more favourable and better for the tech point cost. And it will genuinely give you a better understanding of how these carrier buffs work, and again, what to look for, better bonuses for tech points so you can become stronger than everybody else. So should help you considerably. Again, this is another one of NullPointers' guides, so shout out to him because again, he's been impeccably useful for being able to provide these for the videos, and yeah, I quite enjoy looking at these because it's a lot more in depth than most games sort of people go into. He's really gone all out on this, so again, shout out to him, and thanks as well. So don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and let's jump into it. So here we go. We have the AC721 with 2 cellular defenders versus an FG300. Again, the goal is to understand what the enhancements bring in the fight and give you better understanding of what to look for when you're upgrading and stuff like that. Ship characteristics, so we have the AC721, it's a destroyer, 2% shield, 20 armor, 32,000 HP, well, 31,000. The cellular defender with a corvette, 5,730, and the FG300, the target, is 5 armor with 9,650. The AC721 and cellular defender have 30% bonus weapons damage. So, quick look at the battle report. All battles are filtered on the cellular defender A, and weapon CT-450D, that's its projectile system. It's missiles, actually, I think. They are missiles. It's important to understand the first report. It will be used as a comparison for all others. So here we can see at 00000 start, and then we can see it's 8 seconds for the target acquisition with round 1, delay 1 second. We then see round 2, the first attack, 8 seconds target acquisition, and then we see round 1 kick in with attack 1 and a delay of 1 second till attack 2, where we see round 2 and its attack with a delay of 2 seconds from the target acquisition time to attack 3. And then again, a delay of 3 seconds from target acquisition time to attack 4. And that's the end of the round for the attacks for the cellular defender, because its attack interval is 16 seconds. And so on and so forth. That just rinses and repeats, more or less. So, here we see the installation of 1 and 1 cycle, the weapon damage 455. And the FG300 armor is 5, so the final damage is 450 because armor is a flat damage mitigation, with a hit ratio of 65%. It's based on a lot of tests. The 3 that we can see here, we have 15 attacks with 8 hits, so that's 8 divided by 15 is 53%. 15 attacks and 10 hits, 10 divided by 15, 66%, so on and so forth. So we have Battle 2, decreased cooldown and crit damage. So here we can see that the 2 system cooldowns are applied. That's a total 30% weapon system cooldown. We then have the weapon system has a chance to cause 50%. Ignore the reduces the target selection time of the weapon system by 30%. That's not actually applied here. So here we can see on the analysis that the decreased weapon system cooldown by 30%, and it changed the attack interval from 16 to 12 seconds, shortening the time between the attacks, and it just basically means that it goes through the rounds faster. The weapon system has a chance to cause 50% crit damage, so we can see here that instead of 450 we see 675 damage, and this is 450 plus 50%. This happens twice on the 8 hits, so 25% chance of a crit, which is actually not bad. Other tests show around 30%, so there is a bit of leeway here between 25 and 30% on the crit, so it could be between 25 and 30% overall on average, but 675 damage coming out of a 450 damage weapon's pretty nice. Something to note as well is these don't seem to have like a base crit damage like the cast does. Battle 3. Hit rate and system crit damage. The selected enhancements increases all missile hit rate by 10% and torpedo hit rate by 10%. Increases weapon system crit damage by 40% and reduces the target selection time of the weapon system by 30%. Again, this is can be ignored. You can ignore the target selection time by 30%. It's not actually applied. We are just here for the 40% crit damage and the hit rate bonuses. So we can see here, increases all missile hit rate by 10% and torpedo hit rate by 10%. And hit rate is what I call hit ratio. There's a little more chance, 10%, to hit the enemy ship, but I don't if it is 65% times 1 plus 10%, or 65% plus 10% is equal or less than certainly the second option, and the numbers don't prove it. It needs more testing. So we're not entirely sure if the hit rate is additive or it's multiplicative on top of the current hit rate of the ship. That's what we're trying to get at here, because the tests didn't seem to show all that much. Increases weapon system crit damage by 40%. Crit damage does damage to the weapon. The FG300 weapon can't be damaged. This enhancement does nothing. So this bonus might be better against larger ships. It probably almost certainly will do. And you'll see this damage being applied in system damage if you are testing that out. It should be quite a nice damage bonus and should help you knock out weapon systems a little bit quicker. Battle 4, we have the reduces target selection. So the selected enhancements reduce the target selection time of the weapon system by 30%. We can see here that it's quite a big decrease. So we look here that instead of 000, instead of 008 for the first weapon attack, we're looking at 03. So reduce the target time of a weapon system by 60%. The first attack changes from 8 seconds to 3.4 seconds. So 8 minus 60% equals 3.2. So it's not quite 60%, but it's near enough. There's probably some form of server lag or something going on here, and that's why it's taking a little bit longer. But that's a big increase to get your damage out a little bit quicker. We then have increases target lock-on. So, increase the target lock-on speed of aircraft and UAVs in the hangar by 70%. Here again, we can see a big change from the target lock-on, target acquisition to the attack. So, increase the target lock-on speed of the aircraft and UAVs in the hangar by 70%, and the first attack changed from 8 to 2.7 seconds. So this is actually more useful than the increased target lock-on that we see earlier. This one reduces target selection time. So you could actually run this one probably without needing the other one. So big changes here that are probably pretty useful. We then have Battle 6 reduces the RTB cooldown. Reduces the RTB cooldown of aircraft/UAVs in the hangar by 20%. Analysis reduces the RTB cooldown of aircraft/UAVs in the hangar by 20%. The delay from 2 attacks changes from 16 to 13.9. So this is a bit interesting because I don't believe he had multiple FG300s in here. I think this RTB cooldown would be more beneficial if there was multiple FG300s, and that's if corvettes return to base after a kill the same way fighters do. If they do in that case, then the RTB cooldown is going to be pretty big, so it's going to get your corvettes and fighters back out faster. So this could be a bit more interesting. I will test this myself, I think, a little bit, and see what it does versus 2 FG300s, and see what the retargeting time is between not having this and then having this, and see if it's a considerable improvement or not. We then have increases the hit rate of UAVs in the hangar by 20%, increasing the hit rate of the hangars, aircraft and UAVs in the hangar by 20%. And again, it's what we call ratio, and we're not sure if it's multiplicative or not. And again, we don't see really that much of an improvement. And these are FG300s are fairly evasion heavy, so hit rate doesn't seem to be doing massive amounts, but obviously increasing it's going to be useful. But we are testing a big hit rate versus evasion thing going on at the moment anyway, so I'll definitely come back with a lot more information in a week or two from this video's release, I believe. We then have the nice big flat increases damage by 10%. This is pretty straightforward. It increased the damage by 10%. The damage changes from 455 to 500, which is 455 times 10%, which is 495. With the FG300 armor, this is already applied, so it would have been 500, but we see that we're hitting 495 because 5 armor on the FG300. And then if we stick all of it together, so here we have a reduced chance of torpedoes being intercepted by 7.5%. We've got damage by 20%, hit rate by 10%, reduced cooldown by 30%, and 50% increased chance to 50% increased crit damage, and we have no idea what the increased crit rate really is from this, but we are thinking between 25 and 30%. So, all bonuses are cumulative. The battle is clearly reduced in this case. We can see here that we've finished the battle within 17 seconds. We believe the previous finishes after 50 seconds. So it's roughly 25% increased overall on the ability of the corvette. More. Wait, no, I calculated that wrong. It's like a 300% increase. 300 or 400% increase in the efficiency of what a corvette is capable of doing. The analysis of the enhancements of the corvette carrier is very interesting. The carrier brings advantages to all aircraft. That's something to note as well, is every aircraft that docks with that AC-721, or even, you know, if it isn't the cellular, any of the other aircraft, they're all going to get bonused by this, on top of the bonuses that you can be applying to the vets themselves. So you got a lot of stackable bonuses on aircraft. That's why they're so dominant in PvP, I believe. If you've got maxed out carriers, maxed out fighters, bombers, corvettes, the damage potential is quite dramatic just because of the amount of buff stacking you can do. So here we should consider this order. Hit rate is greater than the cooldown, which I don't quite understand because looking at it, the hit rate didn't really do all that much. So I personally argue that hit rate's lower down. Again, it's going to depend on the ship. If they've got higher evasion, then hit rate's probably up there. Because it wasn't, 25% hit rate's an increase of 25% damage. That's not how it worked. But we are calculating this by tech points, so we're going for the cheaper costs. So it's hit rate to cooldown, and then hit rate again to crit damage. Then we see the cooldown, then the damage, then the target lock-on, the damage, and the target selection. Most interesting thing to understand is that this order is only valid for these ships. They are linked to the basic characteristics. Another ship can have another order. This is completely true. A different corvette may benefit more from, say, higher damage profile and getting the damage earlier on, and the hit rate may be earlier on because they have a lower hit chance, versus something that's maybe more accurate would prefer the cooldown and the damage further up, quicker, maybe even the target lock-on and the target selection on slower moving aircraft. They also link to the opponent's ship. The reduction of the target would be very interesting on a big weapon against a small ship, for example. Yeah, as we saw, this extra bonus crit damage on target weapon systems was not applicable here against the FG300, but versus something, say, a bit bigger, maybe a SD-59 with its giant railgun or torpedo system, knocking that out earlier on is going to be, a boon to your fleet. The enhancements considerably improve the performance of ships. In my Battle 9, I divide the time by 4, and I didn't use everything. So a good knowledge of all this brings an undeniable advantage, but it needs a big Excel file and time to calculate everything. And since this document will be read by very few people, I beg to differ, because, there's a video here now. There'll be a link for this document down below, so if you want to go through it by yourself, definitely do. Just read it through a couple of times, get it set into your mind how it's all working and how it all comes together. It'll certainly help you out. You can have a real advantage over others. My aircraft fleet is devastating to most players. It's kind of funny. Now you have the basics to understand everything. I had already put on the encyclopedia some information about the impact of each of these enhancements, but there are others to analyze that we'll get to eventually in another guide and hopefully another video. So for me, my order wouldn't be hit rate, it would be cooldown, crit damage, cooldown, hit rate, damage, target lock on, damage, and the target selection. Personally, I may even put target lock on a little bit higher. I don't believe the hit rate's actually giving as much of a benefit as having increased cooldown, because increased cooldown in a longer run is just going to, I think, outweigh the hit rate. But that's my personal opinion, due to the fact that the cooldown gets reduced so much that you're just going to get more shots off per round. So yeah, definitely worth checking out though. So, hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time.